Hi guys, hope you're all well. This is another project I've had on the back burner for a long while, and now the Toyan's kind of out of action for a while. I've been in touch with Sterling Kit Engines, and they're going to send me a crankshaft through straight away. They said they've had some problems with the early ones with hardening or something like that, so I don't know, but there's a guy in Germany who actually makes a centre bearing for it as well. So I've got in touch with him, and I'm waiting for him to come back to me. But if I can't get any reply from that, I'll probably make up my own. I've got an idea how to do it, how to make a centre bearing, and this guy in Germany has thought exactly the same as me, and it's kind of what I was going to do anyway. So we'll see how that goes. But at least, Toyan was sending me the crank. There's no problem, free of charge, so there's no grief there. So Toyan, have got a good backup. I know we sort of moan about now and again, us guys who are making these models and stuff like that. But, as soon as I emailed, I actually got a reply from Mona, and they're sending me a crank straight through. So I've got no quibble with that. And we'll have another go, and we'll see how we go from there. But this is it's a lovely bike. I've done a video on this before. This is the, I think it's about 1979, 1980. Could be earlier than that. This is the Kyosho YZ 250. Now, these are quite a valuable model now. Quite rare, hard to find and all that kind of thing. But I've got this one at kind of quite a good price. And I'm not really into sort of shell queens. I have them for a little while, then I have to run them. Now, if you've watched my other videos, you know that I've changed the whole back end of this bike because, it was hideous. It was kind of, he put standard servos in them, so this was back, jacked right up in the air here. So I've made a complete new subframe. I lowered it all down. I've also changed the steering to a direct steer, but we'll get onto that later on. Now, I've had a lot of problems getting this engine running. I've had it running a couple of times in the bike, out the bike, and everything like that. But I've had a lot of trouble with the gears. Now the original gears, these Bevel Gears, they were like aluminum or alloy, and they actually, you've got two of those. You've got one that comes off the engine. Off the actual engine, and you've got another one that comes out to the starter, so they kind of run, where are we, these two Bevel Gears sort of run like that, one from the engine, this one turns out to the starter, to a gear, to the clutch. Now this is the engine unit itself. It's a lovely little thing. I painted it black. This is that barbecue black. Is it Plasticoat? Yeah, I think it's Plasticoat paint. It's absolutely brilliant. It's not so good now. The original ones, they were made in America, and the original paint, that is the barbecue paint, was made in America, and it was a really jet black, and you have to spray it on, you let it dry for about an hour, then you put it in the oven and you sort of fire it to cure it, and the fuel don't take it off, the heat don't take it off. It's magnificent. But the last can I bought, it's made in the Netherlands or something like that, and it's a bit watery. It's kind of like a greyish black. It's not a really nice jet black, but I don't know, it's probably more user friendly, something like that, or something that's harmful been taken out, as it always does these days. But this is a lovely little unit. Now the engine sits down. It's a little OS10, and it sits down a long way, so it drives through the bevel gear, one that side and one that side, and this shaft here goes through here onto the other bevel, and then this drives, you can see that drives there. I've got my other hand on it. Now you can see, so that drives, and the clutch is actually in there. So you've got the clutch in there. This comes from the engine via them two bevel gears, by this idler gear here, and onto this one, which gives you the drive to the sprocket on the back here, which actually gives you the drive when the clutch is engaged. Now, if you can see the bike in the background, you can see that the tank's right up in the air like that. So what do you think happens when you fill up with fuel? yeah, it floods the engine straight away, and it's nearly impossible to start. I'm almost burnt out a starter trying to start it. I burnt out all the standard bevel gears trying to get it to run. And in the end, I managed to put another needle on this side. So we've got 2 needles. So what I do is I leave this one shut, not shut, I leave this one at 2.5 turns out, which seems about right for the engine. And as I'm starting it, I'll gradually unwind that to let the fuel through, and she starts quite easy. I did make another, this is the alley flywheel. I think this is what it comes with. But when I couldn't get it to start, I made myself a stainless steel one, so it's a bit heavier. And it did kind of start, but I think the heavy flywheel does even more damage to the gears. So what I managed to do is, I haven't got it in now, but from China I found a guy who makes bevel gears, and what he's done is he's just hardened the teeth. You know, like I think it's electrical hardened, just the teeth, and the bit behind it is left sort of soft. So I can machine them down. This is one of them. Where are we? I've got one here somewhere. I'll find it in a minute. I've got so many of them. I believe this is, oh, here we are. Right, now this is a hardened steel one. I've taken this one out because when I was machining it, I drilled through here and I broke the tap in it, so I can't use this one, which is a bit of a shame. But I've ordered some more, and I've put them in the bike. And this takes such a hammering, because when you're starting it, you're kind of pushing down on this gear. If you can imagine, you've got this one which goes to the motor, like I said, sits up like that, and then you're trying to start it through there like that, and you're pressing on this sort of hard. It's got like a thrust washer behind it, a bronze thrust washer. So you've got that to run on as you're pressing it on. And it was just, because I couldn't get it started, it just kept, I mean, I think I've got some of the gears here. If I can find one that I'll show you where it's, here, look. Can you see those teeth? Now that is a steel one, but this must have been like an aftermarket one, because the original ones are rally, and they wouldn't last like 2 minutes. But obviously where that's firing at that piece there, it just ground the teeth off and makes a right mess inside. I've also had the shaft snap and everything, you know. So what I've done, I've gone through the complete engine, and I've made all the shafts out of chrome vanadium screwdrivers, 5mm. I've gone through a few of them, and I've ground the flats on, and I've altered the way the 2 bevel gears fit on the shaft, on the motor and on the shaft. I've made like 4mm grub screws on the flats, rather than having a pin through the shaft, because the pin through the shaft was like 2mm, makes it very weak, and that's kind of what's snapping off. So, you know, if you think normal engines have the flywheel on the end of the motor, but this hasn't, you know, it's kind of coming through the starter. So you've got to spin the engine fairly fast, and gradually open that fuel so you don't flood the engine. And as soon as you cut all it, you know, it stops, you have to screw that needle in, or it will sort of just drain the tank into the engine, and then it's almost impossible to get running. This gear here, you can see the mesh is really bad. I think it's the wrong size. You can see it's just on the top of the teeth. Now, this is an 18. I believe I should get a 19 to go in there. But believe it or not, I think it was Saturday evening, I've actually had this running up and down my field. Wasn't fantastic. The clutch is slipping like mad. In the clutch in there, I don't know if I can undo it. Oh, I haven't got my screwdriver, but I've got 2 alloy clutch shoes in there, and I put weights in them, and I put a liner in them. I've taken the liner out, but they still won't grip, because it's only a little OS10. It's not a very high revving motor, but I cannot get it to grip. But I could get them down the field, kind of slip in the clutch, and I did like half a circuit with it. I'm going to put them on YouTube. They're only like 30 seconds long, but it'll give you some idea, you know. But what I did in the end, just to try it, I put the shoes around the other way. So instead of trailing, they were actually like leading shoes. And that worked, but the clutch was kind of engaged all the time. So every time, if you stalled, you stopped or whatever, it would stall. It wouldn't kind of free off. But I'm telling you, it had so much potential because it went. I'd done sort of one circuit of the field with it, you know, sort of locked drive more or less, and it was flying along, and the suspension was working lovely. But the trouble was, my cameraman Barry didn't film that one. We filmed all the ones where the clutch was slipping, but not the last one. So when I've come home, I thought to myself, well, right, the bike has got potential because my little steering setup, instead of the Kyosho complicated leaning forks, I've got a kind of a direct steer on here. It works really well and it's really positive. There's no gyro in this bike. It's just wire wheels and it's the bike itself. So when I come home, I was kind of quite pleased. So I've stripped the engine down again, put all new ball racing in because that's another thing. Originally, there's all like bronze bearings in here, but you can replace them all with ball races, which I've done. So that's when I made all new shafts, all new gears in here. The exhaust sort of, it runs around the head and it comes out of here to a little expansion chamber like you can see on the bike. And it's just an absolute classic little thing. Now, because this bike's quite old, when I got it, I thought to myself, I'm going to rebuild the wheels because they're only like plastic. They had a kind of like something on them that made it look like alley. And I think, I don't know what they're made out of, some sort of plastic, but if you can you see that crack that's appeared there? Since I've been running it, there's been a crack. Because not many people run these. I mean, I've never seen one run on YouTube. I'm hoping mine probably will be the first one. But that's what's happened to the wheels. And these are a nightmare to build. There's 36 spokes. I'll show you. This is the hub. I mean, that is an alley hub. It's quite nicely machined. But, I mean, if you can see in there, they are the spokes. There's 36 of them. And they all go away. I've got loads of pictures, but the problem with these spokes, if you build a real wheel, the spokes, if you can see that, the spokes have like a little nipple on the end to stop them falling out. Right, there it is. Now these haven't. So when you start building the wheel, you kind of put them in like that, and you know, you're looking at your pictures and whatever, and all of a sudden they just fall out again. I mean, I think last time I did it, I got about 20 spokes in, and one sort of come out, and then they all just fell out. And that's what it's like trying to build one of these wheels. They've got loose little nipples on the end, and they've got like a hexagon in the end. Nothing really fits it sort of perfectly, but I've rebuilt them once, so I'm going to rebuild them again. But back to the rims. I've in fact ordered the alley this week, and I'm going to make a set of alley rims for this bike because I painted these, and as usual, the fuel's come out and it's taken all the paint off, and they look pretty grotty. And now I know the bike has got a potential to run, that I'm going to actually make a set of alley wheels. Now I've ordered the alley for the rear one for the time being. So I'm going to make that up. I'm trying to look at some way of putting the holes in. I'm wondering if I can get a sort of rotary table or a dividing head to go on my lathe. I've been in contact with Warco today, and I'm hoping they're going to come back to me with some magic thing that they might have that I think my mate said to me they're like 10 degrees to drill these holes. I think they're about 3 mil. So if I make an alley one of them, it'll be done and dusted. Now, these lights apart, I mean, these are some of them, but this is the heavy flywheel that I made, and I think that does put a lot of strain on the gearboxes. We've got the rear brake arm. It works on a little brake inside the hub. So there's a little brake shoe, a little half a brake shoe there, and the brake works quite well. Sprocket like new. I don't think it's done any work. I mean, like I say, I've never actually seen one work. But my steering setup, what I've made here, is the usual thing, direct steer. So I've got 2 servos there, mini servos, so I don't have to have that, great big seat sticking out the back. Because believe it or not, they run 2 standard servos in this bike back in the day. So you had to have the seat kind of perched right up in here. It looked horrendous. So I just made this new piano wire frame. Whether I'm going to paint it or something, I don't know. I want to get it running right first. But I've got one rod that comes from this servo here. It runs through here, and all it does, it just pushes in with a little collet into the front forks there. So most of you bike fans know that you turn that way and a bike steers that way. And honestly, if you'd seen the other contraption, there was a great big sort of lump of iron on here with a big hairspring, and it was so complicated just to swing the forks backwards and forwards. So instead of having a direct steer, they had like a leaning steer, like the original Kyosho bikes had, which, doesn't work that well. This worked absolutely fancy. You just need to put a little bit of bias on the wheel. It's got no crash bars or nothing. And I did like a couple of corners where you could pick it up, and it was really nice. I just didn't have enough power because of the clutch slip to actually sort of do a full circuit, because it didn't like going through the long grass. But like I say, it's got real good potential. The engine you have to kind of like really seal that well with silicone sealer, because it tends to leak. All the exhaust actually goes out the side here. There's like inside there of the engine, there's a little plate on there, and it's got like inlet from the engine, and then it's got 3 sort of square holes that go up through there, and it, believe it or not, it goes right around the head, and then it comes out of this little inlet here. It's quite restrictive, but it was quite a peppy little engine. You need the drive train like really nice and free, and those bevel gears, I've spent a long time shimming them and whatever to get that a nice fit. You can't have them too loose or too tight. And the other thing, when I was having trouble starting it, I made myself electric starter with a free wheel on it. So as the engine, because what was happening, you're spinning it over, and sometimes it seemed like it wouldn't to start when you took the starter off, and the flywheel was just like sort of the inertia was keeping it going. But what I did was I've made like a one-way starter, so when it fires, it freewheels, and I've got the starting down to quite a good, it don't take me that long now, because the starter spins it over a lot faster. It doesn't flood because I've got 2 needles on it, and you can gently unwind one of them till it starts. And then you can undo that right if you want to, because the other needle is set there to 2.5 turn, which seems to be sort of around the right place. But I'm going to try it next time with the light flywheel and see what we get with that. But the problem I'm having as well, because the bikes are very old, is this. The tyre. Now this is a fantastic looking tyre, and believe it or not, when you bought these bikes, you've got just a normal sort of looking tyre, like a road tyre, and these sort of knobblies came in like a strip. And what you had to do, you had to kind of try and glue the strip onto the normal tyre. It must have been an absolute nightmare. I don't know what sort of glue you would use back in the day, maybe something like Evo stick or something like that. Well, if you can see where the rubber has perished, it's like almost like a cricket bat rubber handle. You know, like the rubber you get on a cricket bat handle. It's like that. It goes over the top, and it's not stuck all the way. So now I've started running the bike, it's actually pulling away because it's slightly perished as well. So it's pulling the knobbles off the bike, including like the bottom piece. So I really don't know. I mean, I've actually glued quite a few of these knobbles back on. I mean, I've got quite a few missing now. So I think there's some there. Yeah, quite a few missing off of that tyre. So I might make some more and try and glue them on. Actually, I mean, I've tried to glue that skin onto the tyre as well, but it's really awkward. They just want to rip off so easy, because bearing in mind how old this bike is, there's not many out there with any, anything left on these tyres. And the other thing I was thinking is maybe a modern bike, like I've got an ARX, they're too big. there might be something out there, even like the Anderson, something, a front tyre or a rear tyre that I can actually sort of modify, even cut and shut and whatever, and try and get one of them to fit. I think the inside diameter is about 105 diameter. So if anyone out there can tell me any sort of tyre, you know, that will fit this rim, it'll be really helpful. I'm sure this is about 105 across there. You know, maybe I can sort of cut the wheel and join it, you know, anything really. Otherwise I'm going to be in big trouble, because I'm not about to get another one of them tyres or the skins that go on them. Everything for these bikes goes for colossal money. But, you know, when I put it all together with the new subframe and that, it looks absolutely fantastic. And I think it's worth making a set of alloy wheels. It's going to take a while. I'm not looking forward to it. I don't mind making the wheels, but actually, you know, doing the spoking and the wheels is like terrible. With those spokes with no nipples on. I think what I did last time, I just put like a little bit of like Evo stick or something on them just to sort of tack them in, hold them in, you know. It's like, I think it took me like a day to actually lace that wheel up, because you get one spoke wrong. I've got loads of photos of the wheel, you know, and what goes where, but it's very easy to go wrong. And then you end up sort of 10 spokes down the line, you realise you've got to take them all out again because you've done them wrong. So maybe I'll get my boy to have a look at it, because he works in a bike shop and builds wheels, so I don't know, but it's one of them things, you have to do a little bit, walk away, you know, because it really does do your head in, you know. I mean, I think I could do a normal bike wheel, like, in a couple of hours, but, you know, one of these, if the spokes had a nipple on them, didn't keep falling out, it would make life a lot easier. But, well, that's enough waffling for now, guys. So we've got good news on the Toyan, which you can see in the background here. I'm hoping, I've asked to send me some gaskets. I hope they get my message. I need gaskets, I need a couple of seals and some O-rings like that, and I'll get that back together. I've noticed on the boards at the bottom there's a little bit of rust on there. I guess that's from the nitro in the fuel, but you know, it can't really be helped. I suppose you could stick some after running oil in there, but whether it's going to get down to them, I don't know. I might look into putting some different bearings in it. I was just looking, there's like a, I don't know what this is. I don't know if you can see there, but in the middle of the middle crank, which should be, there's this little plate that screws on, and there's like a little hole under there. And I really don't know what that does. Whether they were going to try and put something across there or not, I don't know. That is, I would love to know why that is there, why you have to put that little plate on. Because that little plate, is sort of, can you see like it bends, as you put the screws in, it sort of bends as though it's a bit of an afterthought. So I don't know what that is, but it's got to have something across here, and that crank will not go back in there until I've done that mod somehow, one way or the other. So that's where we are with that. So I just thought I'd update you on the bike. I'm going to put a couple of little silly videos on there just so you can see it run, and show you that it actually does run. You know, they're only like 30 seconds. I think one's 8 seconds, but we'll stick them on. And hopefully next time, when I get the clutch sorted out, we'll have a proper driving video, because I'm sure this little bike has got a lot of potential, and I really want to get this bike up and running. I've got a guy on eBay, a comrade, who's trying to get me a rider figure for it. So if you're out there, comrade, I hope you can find me one. I don't know if Gregor at Motor Rad Shop might be help me out on the tyres. This is his mug that I'm drinking out of that he sent me. So if anyone out there give me any help on the tyres or a rider figure for this bike, I'll be most grateful. So I'll see you later then, guys. See you in the next one. Bye.